Hello everybody, I'm Duke James. This is Hungary 3.0. Spent some money. I got some capitals building. There's a capital in Poland. There's a capital in Kiev. There's a lot of amenities. Because I have a lot of provinces, a lot of cities that are actually up to the amenities cap. Like in Pest, the cap is 80,000 right now. I'm building amenities, so I've already paid for that. It's going to take a long time. I'm also building a harborage because I only have a level 2 harborage in Pest. That's 50 progress stages, I suppose, combined. So I don't imagine we're going to get that in the next century. It's going to take a long time to build those two things, but I figure might as well start building them now. So the cap is 80,000 and there are 113,000 residents. They're still actually growing 0.05, so I think that just speaks to how much their life comfort and luxury needs are being met, that they're 30,000 over the soft cap, because it's not a hard cap, but they're 30,000 over the soft cap and still growing by 50 per month, per year. There's a lot of people migrating too. 700 migrating every year. Then there's 383,000 peasants in here as well, which is, I think, a lot. While we're on here, literacy rate is actually now 77% for peasantry, 70% for residents, 85% nobles, 82% burghers. The clergy are not very literate, which is kind of funny, considering pretty sure they were one of, if not the most literate classes in the Middle Ages. I think we're in the Renaissance now, so people probably caught up by that point. But I'm going to use this episode to look at every map mode in the game. This is going to be like a little catch up. So the capitals that I'm building, Pest, Krakow, and Kiev, probably the three most important provinces right now in terms of future going forward, because Kiev is kind of shit right now, actually, but I'm going to try to build that up because it's on that river system, so it's probably good. It's probably a good province to build up. In terms of development, these two are not anywhere near close. Let's actually look at that map mode. Let's not look at that map mode. That doesn't tell us much. We'll go to the special map mode and look at that. I think is there a special map mode for development? It's not population. Other map mode, maybe? Yeah, there we go. Development. Map mode scope. I think this will be a lot more useful. All my owned provinces. There we go. Now it's not all just red. So this is actually the second most developed province in our country with 49 developments. There are 323,000 peasants here, pretty well educated at 72%. Life needs are looking pretty good, growing a lot. 1,500 peasants every year, plus 600 migrating. So there's close to 3,000 people every year moving into this province. A lot of residents growing by 250,000. Residents, burghers. There's a lot of information. I feel like going through all the information would take a long time. But if I'll look at the information for the most developed provinces. Like here's the population, incomes, and cash. So peasantry have a good amount of money saved up. Same with the residents. Burghers have 6,000 ducats. The burghers make a lot. They make 670 ducats in this province. They invest most of it. Clergy are rather poor. The residents somehow have a negative balance, but they still have money, so it's not like they're going bankrupt. But they do consume a lot more than they make. And the peasants are pretty balanced. around there. Maybe a slight deficit. I mean, would people be... See, I'm not sure what's interesting, because it's like, there's tax rates as well, which I wouldn't normally go over. So I think I'll just skip that. And there's like labor demand, which is... I don't think it's interesting to like know what the labor demand in Banat would be. And then things like infrastructure. Probably for just the largest cities. I want to do some investment in the farms in this province. Interestingly, everything's now 9 ducats. Which I think... There's this part of mercantilism, which I didn't get. So I think I said that this does nothing because there's no commercial district. I think what that was someone might have mentioned this, but this. So 10 ducats becomes 9 ducats. So you get 10% off your investment, but that 9 ducats is still worth 10 ducats. You just pay 1 ducat less. For some reason, that's everything. That might have been something I got. Something I embraced, or it just gets cheaper over time. But yeah, alright, this province, south of Hungary. This province is also really rich. The peasants are making a lot of money here. That's pretty much coming out of our treasury. Straight into the peasants' hands, which is fine. That's why they're growing a lot, because they have a close to 100 ducats surplus. I think I'll skip the industries. Alright, Belgrade is the 3rd highest. 33 urban development in this province. That's actually the 2nd most urban developments. But they have no rural pops, so Bakska defeats them. Yeah, they have 119,000 residents, so there's actually more residents in Belgrade than Pest. So I'm also building amenities here as well, which is also going to take a long time to build. But I think everybody everywhere in my country is pretty good with literacy, since we make 2 times the literacy demand. That's actually... Those 3 provinces are really the most developed provinces, really. After those 3, everything's about yellowish. Pressbrook has 55,000 residents. Let's go over the residents. Amount. So there's a specific map mode for that. Let's go, I'm gonna go total population and then move from there. So total population looks like this. There's not a whole lot of people in the Balkans, mostly in the Pannonian Plain, and I think a decent amount of peasants over in the Ukrainian provinces, which should actually grow more as I start developing these provinces and their wages increase. Hopefully. Paying for their dole. Yeah, so like in this province, there's been a lot of investment in this province, so they're getting about 1,000-ish peasants every year. Nomads are moving, though. The nomads should become peasants, settle down, farm. Not a whole lot up here, either. Let's get a little tiny Polish heartland right here. our heartland, and then I think Bohemia has a lot of people, so when I conquer that, and then the Ukrainian provinces have a lot of people as well. Let's look at urban population. Alright, these are pretty much the urban centers in our country. Now, most of these should correspond to natural features, provinces with natural features. Some of them don't. If there's a lot of population at the start, I did some investment like Pressbrook. But, I've been trying to build up Ragusa as a province. There's about 50,000 residents here, a little bit, 2,500 less residents than 50,000. They're actually dying as well in this province. Let's go ahead and build. The problem is now there's a lot of provinces that need amenities upgraded, but it's not money that's a problem, it's the actual building it that's a problem. So I'll go ahead and build that up. I've also been trying to build up Kodor as well. They have about 30,000, so they're close to their soft cap of 30,000. Istria is about 22,000. Wallachhia's capital has, or former capital, 91,000 residents here. But it has amenities rank 3, so actually they're below, but this province doesn't have natural features, so this is one of the provinces where I would just let them do their thing and not upgrade to level 4, because that's about 1,000 ducats and it's going to take a long time, so I'd rather get that in provinces that are either closer to my capital or have natural features in them. Like these 3 provinces that I'm trying to build up. There's about 30,000 residents in Bessarabia. Not a whole lot in the other ones. These provinces are really just conquered recently. And then there's things like migration balance. There's migration push and pull, but those are pretty much just opposites. So I think migration balance is probably a better thing to look at. I think the red ones, so the green ones have people migrating? No. Are people migrating out of Pest? Oh, people are migrating out of Pest. The peasants are migrating out of Pest. They're moving down here. Yeah, so I should definitely build farmlands in Pest. Because the farmlands here are pretty profitable. And the peasants are leaving. Go ahead and invest 30 ducats. 40 ducats. However many ducats that was. Alright, so it looks like there's actually people moving out of these Ukrainian provinces, which I don't want to have happen. I want people to migrate into those, peasants specifically, so they can work the fields. Because all of these provinces have good farmland size. 2,200. Let's go ahead and do some farmland investment in just all these provinces, sure. And those 2 for good measure. I'm actually losing a lot of money, so yeah, I have a 100 ducat deficit, which is why I don't want to spend a whole lot anymore. We're losing 200 ducats in property. We own 33% of the land in our country and 37% of the property in our country. We have a stranglehold on the academic property and about 1/3 of the industrial property of our country. So that is the migration balance. haven't done any investment up here. Interestingly, looking at these provinces, the game industries in these provinces produce exotic goods, which the ones down here, pretty much 99% of them produce delicacies, but these produce exotics. I'm not sure why. There's like 4 provinces up here that produce exotics. Because if I were to do a census, this is all over the place, but looking at this really quickly, food still has a deficit, but it's actually slimming down. Salt's good. Fiber, fuel, raw materials are good. We produce 10 exotic goods. And those are the game industries up here. Pretty much everything else except exotic and luxury goods we have a surplus. Knowledge, more than double what we need, which is why the peasants are educated. Let's go ahead and look at the population. Yeah, so we're growing. We have 12 million people in all of our cored provinces. These provinces up here are not cored, so they don't factor into these calculations, into these, yeah, we have about 1.1 million fighting age peasants. We're getting about 31,000 peasants per year. Nomads, we have about 60,000 fighting age nomads, 1.7 million residents, about 153,000 fighting age residents. Our residents are actually dying more than we're getting them. And I think that's due mostly to amenities, which is why I'm going to try to build amenities. See how long it takes. Nobles, 325,000 nobles, which is actually more than I would think, but that must include all kinds of nobles, lesser nobles, baby nobles. Our peasants make, on average, 1.4 ducats and spend 1.2, so they actually save money, which I feel like is what you want to have happen. The nomads are poor, who cares about them? Move to the cities if you want money. The residents make 3.6 and they spend 2.9, which is also nice. Per capita wealth, 31 ducats. The nobles are broke. Who cares about nobles? Get a job. Burghers are broke, actually. That's because they have to spend for the residents, since I did a lot of industrial investments, so I'm making the burghers broke, but they can weather that. They have per capita wealth of 600 ducats. And the clergy are actually making money. Alright, what other map modes? There's the political map mode. Here's the imperial map mode. Anybody want to see that? Culture map mode. We have a lot of cultures. Ruthenian, Crimean, Moldavian, Vlach, Transylvanian, Hungarian, Slovak, Moravian, Bohemian, Polish, German, Silesian. Yeah, we own one province over there. We own Prussian, Lithuanian, Curonian, Latgalian, Estonian, Croatan, Serbian, Austrian, Latin, Bulgarian, Albanian. Actually, we don't own any Albanian provinces. Slavs and Hungarians. Our accepted cultures, not a whole lot. Probably promote Ruthenian. That's a huge chunk right here. as soon as I can. I don't have enough dip power to do it right now. Religious map mode. Converting a lot of the Sunni provinces over here to Catholic. And then pretty much all of these provinces over here are Orthodox. There's a couple Orthodox down there and some over here. Metropolitan estates, unrest. It's pretty good. Government type. Novgorod is a republic. There's some republics over in Italy. There's some theocracies. Rebel types. Pretender rebels. Angry mobs. Pretender rebels. Separatists. The green are separatists. I feel like having separatists is probably what you want. If you want anyone. They're not going to rise up, though. Dynastic. Spain actually has their ruler on France's throne, which is like the opposite of the War of Spanish Succession, where the French ruler is like a cousin or somebody went on the Spanish throne. Those are the political map modes: diplomatic, opinion. People like us, somewhat. In order to trade, I think your relations have to be higher than -100, so I'm not going to be able to trade with Bohemia because they hate us. I'm rivaled with Castile, but I can still I should be able to still trade with them, unless rivaling specifically locks you out, but I don't think it does, because you still have to embargo. Although maybe it does. I don't have the list in front of me. Coalition. We've made everybody up here mad at us. We're going to make them even more mad at us once we conquer the rest of these provinces, and Finland and Bohemia's provinces. Federations, there are none. Trade leagues. Sure, rivals. Mamluks have us as their rival. We have France as our rival, but they're not our rival. Timurids are our rival. Kind of want to fight the Timurids, loot northern India if I can at all. Players, there's no players. Great powers. Where's the list of great powers? We are second rank great power. With 1,543 development. I also annexed Mazovia, in case you didn't notice. We're pretty handily in second place. France is only at 948. Mamluks 600. Of course, the Mamluks don't have the Levant, so they're missing a good chunk of development right there. Trade map mode, development map mode. Obviously, Ming is going to have the green provinces. 200 development, 193 development, 135 development. One of these provinces over here has a lot more farmlands. I think it has the most farmlands in the world. 3,000 right here. I'm pretty sure this was the Jin dynasty that united China in like 600 BC. And they did that by building canals with their farmland. That's my history lesson. Manpower. There's a manpower map mode? It's so useless, I didn't even know it existed. Maybe it's not that. Situationally, I guess that would be worthwhile. Never really looked at it, never really needed to. Local autonomy. Autonomy is decreasing over here because of that river. Should be decreasing over here because we annexed Mazovia as well, so that should decrease. And then these provinces were just conquered, so they should decrease over time as well. Oh, special map mode. Technology. We got good dip in mill tech. Our admin tech is behind. Institutions. Doesn't say much. Trade. I think Pest is one of the best provinces for trade. Can't say in the world because there's Ming, but in Europe, it's probably on par with Paris. It's actually better than every province over here, from what I can see, in terms of trade value. Which I'm not sure how that's calculated. But the commerce industry is 575, which I imagine is probably the highest. It's a little bit less than Paris, which I'd have to imagine Paris is probably the highest, if not us. London? Okay, no, scratch that. London is the most, which makes sense because London has their colonies. And Siberia has 1,000 as well, and that's because of their colonies. All of the colonial powers have good commerce industries, 600 right there. They make a lot of profit from those exotics and the trade goods from the New World, so they have a lot of industry, which makes me think that colonizing is probably the way to go, which, I mean, it was pretty much always, but now more so than ever. Speaking of which, we've unlocked the Caribbean, which looks like this, which is just horrible looking. There's no... It's just like a 5-year-old spilled a paint can, 5 paint cans. Brittany even has provinces. Like, what is France doing? Come on, France, you should have eaten Brittany a long time ago, not let them get colonies. They're mucking up this, the Caribbean. What is this? They're doing like a half colonization in Haiti. They're splitting up Cuba. I don't even know what this is. They got one English province, a Portuguese province, one English, couple Spanish, Portuguese. It's just horrible. Also, England conquered all of Mexico. I think that's why England has good commerce, although Spain and Portugal do as well, and they didn't conquer Mexico. English Mexico. Actually, not as good as I thought they would be. 200 developments. These provinces should have good farmland. And there should be some mines in some provinces as well. I'll probably look at these provinces once more of the New World unlocks. Province trauma. Bohemia's got a lot of trauma. They got a lot of problems. Called Hungary. Hungary. Alright, those are those map modes. I'm not sure which of these map modes is really interesting. River sections, average temperature. Here's the average temperature. There's not a whole lot of difference in temperature in terms of crop yields. Soil quality. Pretty much good everywhere. Except this one province. This one stretch of provinces and mountain provinces. Like, there's a lot of mountains down here, so it's kind of shit. But Again, it really doesn't make a huge difference in terms of yields. Potatoes pretty much the way to go everywhere, except for certain conditions like temperature above 20 degrees Celsius, which hardly ever happens in Europe. Here's our communication efficiency, which is actually pretty good, except in the conquered provinces, which is why the autonomy is decreasing. Trade, I mean, there's a whole lot of different things that I could look at, like food, salt, fiber production, but don't know. People would want me to go through all that. I would, but it seems like a lot to go through. Here's knowledge production, which is pretty much these cities. Let's look at total traffic. Alright, this is the trade traffic. That tells us nothing. Connectivity also says nothing. I think it's just that I don't have the right parameters in place, but I'm not sure how to set those up to actually get any kind of information from those. Potential Silk Road. Let's look at actual Silk Road. I have to change the scope for that. Worldwide no wastelands. Here's the Silk Road. What Silk Road provinces do, I don't know. Probably get a bonus somehow. Kind of looks like the Crusader Kings 2 Silk Road. Probably because that was the actual Silk Road, so that makes sense. Yeah. I imagine they just have a bonus to commerce, if anything. They might not actually get anything. I think that's it. Religious ratio, total population, religious population density, life needs. Here's life needs, which is actually looks pretty good. Now, this is definitely something that you'd want to look at a bigger scope for in order to get a better idea. Looks like everywhere has good life needs being met. I assume green means they're not dying. Their life needs are met enough to where they won't die. That's actually better than I would think that it would be. Or just die a little bit less than usual. It looks like Europe's well fed, actually. Let's see. Let's look at... oh, okay, here we go. You can look at fractions of population in terms of religion. Don't think I have that set up for that. Political map mode, you can look at state reach. Which looks like it's pretty high everywhere in Europe. I think a lot of these map modes, everybody's just the same looking. But I think that's it for this episode then. If any of those actually stand out to look at specifically, you can leave a comment, and probably won't be for couple episodes, because I do film ahead, and I'm trying to get this series wrapped up so I can move on to a colonization campaign in the newest alpha, because this is a little bit behind in terms of updates, because one of them is not save compatible, and I kind of wanted to see this to the end for the most part, or a satisfying conclusion at least, far enough into the game to glean details into some of the late game. So yeah, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.